Hey everyone, welcome to Dakota Does Dressage. I've got an update video for you on Dakota, and I wish it hadn't taken me 4 months since my last video to be here giving you this update and telling you what's been going on, but it's winter and it's just been not a fun winter. So let's just rewind to last fall. I was treating Dakota for an ulcer, and he seemed to be improving and responding well to that treatment until we put him on a compound for ulcer medication and he started to regress. And that was like late October. So at that point, I found out that the compound is not as effective in treating ulcers as, your ulcer guard. We had only done a 2-week course of actual treatment before switching him to the compound. So, after I found all of that out, I was like, well, what am I going to do? I really feel like I just need to do a full course of treatment, but it's very expensive. So, here we are at the end of the year with the holidays coming up. How am I going to make this work? And I found out that you can get a non-FDA approved, basically a generic brand. And that's what I had cleared by my vet. And we administered to him through the entire month of December. Every day he got treated with this. I got it in a paste form that he absolutely hated and became so displeased at seeing me show up every day to give him his medicine. But I went ahead, we did it. I didn't notice any difference. He still just seemed really uncomfortable. And that brings us to the first week of this year. The farrier came out, trimmed all of the horses. And when he was trimming Dakota, myself and my friend who was waiting to have her horse done, we were noticing that Dakota was acting uncomfortable during the trim, which is odd for him. He's never had a problem with the farrier. This farrier's been working on him for about 2 years, since I brought him to this property. And what Dakota was doing was he'd do a little head toss every time the nippers were used to trim off some of the hoof wall. And he wasn't being quicked or anything. We weren't seeing any trauma, any blood. It was just really odd. So he got through one foot, and then starting on I'm going to mix up my left and right here, his left foot. So he trimmed his right foot first, then started trimming the left front foot. Dakota had a huge, what I would call a pain response. He kind of dipped down almost like a cat stretching, but not in a good way. It was definitely a pain response, and his entire back spasmed. It was bizarre to see. It almost looked like Dakota was gonna just fall down. And that was the last red flag that I needed to seek help elsewhere. Just, nothing against the vet I've been working with, but she would even tell me that, she's great for spring shots. She's great for coming out to do some stitches or, basic diagnostics. But something like this, I'd really need to go see a more specialized vet. And we are very lucky that in our area, we do have access to an equine, I don't know if hospital is the right word, but definitely a higher level equine vet service. So I called them. I explained everything that's been going on. We set up an appointment. But here's the thing. They don't really come out and see your horse too much. They need you to come to their facility so they have access to the equipment they need to really do their diagnostic work, which meant x-rays. I don't have a horse trailer. So I had to scramble and find a horse trailer. Luckily, we have a vehicle that can tow a horse trailer, but, we were able to secure one. And then it snowed and I had to cancel the appointment and reschedule. So he didn't get seen by this vet until the beginning of February. So at this point, I'm going to cut over to that footage, let you watch that, and then I'll explain what's going on. It's February 1st, and we're about to take a little journey. We have been still having some health issues. Just hasn't been doing remarkably better since completing a treatment for an ulcer. He's been seeming a little bit lame, so we're gonna trailer over to a vet that's close by, and I don't know what is gonna happen today, what they're gonna do to him, but I'm basically just gonna give his history, see what the vet has to say, and see if we can figure out what's been going on with him, and how to help him feel better. So, all right, I've got to get this horse a little bit cleaned up, more than he is. His legs are caked in mud. So I'm gonna spray those off and then cross my fingers that he'll get in the trailer this morning, because he does not get trailered often. He gets really nervous about it, and he could be like a sweaty, awful mess by the time we get there. And it's about like 35 degrees this morning, so I just hope the day goes smoothly, and we get some good news today, an explanation as to what's been going on with him, and hopefully it's not gonna be tragic news. That's as good as I think I can get them. I couldn't film and spray at the same time because our wash rack is all cleaned up for the winter, so I just had to like hold the lead rope and spray his feet. But man, he had the white, you can see where the line is, that was all mud all the way down. And then I should have trimmed his tail. I kept meaning to, and I didn't. I guess I could cut off all the mud that's collected on the bottom of his tail, just snip it. I don't know. Oh, and then I don't think there's any hope for his mane. I don't put his mane into braids in the winter, and he gets these fairy knots and he gets mud in it. And it normally is not too bad to brush out in the spring, but I don't know. You're gonna look a little rank today, I think. They're gonna think you're like a bronc horse or something. You're just a bit of a mess. Gosh, this place is incredible. So the main office is in this part of the building, and then there's a barn here, place to unload, an awesome like circle driveway we came in. They've got a barn up here with some horses. I've never been to this facility before. It's amazing. Okay, so we checked in at the office and they're gonna send a technician out. Dakota has to wait in the trailer until they give us the okay to go with him, and he's in there, not kicking yet, but banging around and just being a little nervous. So I'm sure he'll be ready to get out when the time comes. He loaded pretty good, actually. He has a tendency to just, when he gets up to the trailer, he'll put his two front feet up, and it's just a step up 2-horse bumper pull trailer. He'll put his front feet up, he'll wait, he'll sniff around, then he'll back out. And that can go on seemingly forever. So because I do a lot of groundwork with him, I did ask Josh to just go grab my little stick and string and just kind of tap on the ground behind him. And that just kind of motivates him. And I'm like, I should keep going, and just jump on. So I'm sure if we had more time and accessibility to the trailer to practice, he'd be great at loading. But you know, for a horse that really doesn't get trailered a lot, I think he does okay. It's like the whole trailer is just like a boat rocking behind me, and he's pawing. Just gotta hang on, buddy. Where are you? This is just a day trip. You're going back to your home later. He's like, get me off. Here's a quick shot of the very nice heated exam room that we got to be seen in. And I didn't film during the exam just because this was my first time working with these vets, and I didn't want them to lose their focus or just feel weirded out by having a camera going. And I also just wanted to pay attention as to what they were saying and doing, and it all went really, really well. We ended up doing a lameness evaluation where we found out that he was lame in his left hind stifle, and we x-rayed both of his stifles, we x-rayed both front feet, and we x-rayed down his top line. We also did some blood work, and we're waiting to hear back on a metabolic panel. He's got mild navicular in his right front foot, and I talked with the farrier about trimming his toes back a little bit shorter and also coming up with a plan to do shoes this year. So that wasn't a problem, and we trimmed him shorter when he just came out the other week. We're going to hold off on shoes until the next visit, which will be sometime in April, probably. I forgot to mention he also has some kissing spines and was really sore down his top line, and also has some arthritis in both of his stifles. Injecting him with steroids in those areas was suggested for pain management. I'm going to continue to work him in the indoor, where the footing is a bit softer versus the outdoor. And I'm just going to focus on like some physical therapy and some groundwork to help him build up his top line muscle and get stronger before I decide to ride him again. The blood work that they did, where they told me they weren't really expecting him to have a metabolic disorder, but you just have to rule it out just in case, because they won't do steroid shots on a horse with a metabolic disorder. There is the risk that a horse could develop laminitis and then founder. So they called me back and let me know that he was borderline for Cushing's. He was still in the normal range, but only just. And so they want to come out and do a more conclusive test. So I'm here at the barn right now, waiting on them. They're going to come out and draw some blood to do another test, and we'll talk about options. So we'll see what the vet has to say. We'll see what the test comes back as, and that will decide what will happen with Dakota and probably this channel. Because if he's not doing dressage, I've done a poor job in choosing a name for this channel. We'll see what happens. So stay tuned.